Hey, Zentis here with another video for the Draw Steel Elements Obsidian plugin. In this video, we'll be going over the negotiation tracker. So, head over to steelcompendium.io, we'll pull up the documentation, scroll down, go to the Draw Steel Elements documentation, and then over on the sidebar there should be a negotiation tracker. So we have that up, a little GIF of how to use it, and then all the details for the fields and things like that. They should be documented in here. So let's get one of these started. So have Obsidian open. I have adjusted this from the previous videos in the editor. I disabled the readable line length. What this does is it creates these huge margins on the side, and I don't like that. So if this looks different, it's because I turned that off. I recommend you do as well. Save yourself some space there. Okay, so let's say I have a module in the DS Compendium as of right now. Bay of Black Bottom is in there, and you can look at that. But I'm just going to use a sample. So here's my sample arbitrary. Excuse me, negotiation. Doesn't really matter what this says. But let's say we need to use this to build out our negotiation tracker. So let's do that. We'll call this. Is this negotiation for Outcast Priest Valen? Let's do that. Let's make a new file. Outcast negotiation. Let's not care about capitalization. So just like all the other elements, we're going to open up a code block, and for this one, you can the language would be DS negotiation, or you can do ds-nt for negotiation tracker. And if you try to render this, it's going to get an error saying you need a name. So let's add a name. I'm just going to pop this down here so I can see it a little better. Let's call this Outcast Priest Valen accused of heresy by the Inquisitors. Cool. And if we render this, it's actually going to build out the entire negotiation tracker for us with a bunch of default settings. So I recommend you just like render it real quick and then go back in, because it's going to pre-populate this. You can also, of course, like just go in the documentation and copy it yourself. But this is just a little too quick way to do it. So I'll go over how to actually use the UI. For now, let's just focus on the data. So current patients, let's look it up. We have interest of 2 and patients of 3. So interest of 2 and patients of 3. After that, we have our motivations and pitfalls. So those each are going to be these lists with lists of objects, and the object has a name and a reason field. Again, if you are not familiar with YAML, I highly recommend looking it up and just getting the basics of how it all works. But we will go through and do that. Name for this first one will be higher authority. Paste that in. And then reason, you just copy paste that from our source doc. And then our second motivation is going to be justice. And the reason is going to be here. Okay. And let's just render this and see how we go. So we updated the interest to 2, and we updated the patients to 3. So those are reflected by the backgrounds here. And then we can see that we added higher authority, we have the reason there, and we have justice, the reason there. And then inside of our argument block, we have the 2 appeal checkboxes added. So I'll go over, like I said, I'll go over the actual usage of this. We're just checking to make sure we don't have any errors along the way. So let's do pitfalls now. Same thing, name and reason. Our pitfalls are legacy. And reason for that is, and full of typos today. We got freedom. And our reason, their divergence. All right, cool. Pitfalls should be in here. Yep, pitfalls are in. Looks good. Current argument, we don't have a current argument right now, but that'll be tracked in there. So let's just leave that. Let's do our interest. So here are outcomes. Let's copy paste these all in. So I was lazy and just called these I5 through I0. Those are interest 5 to interest 0. And we can just paste all of these in for us to use during the session. Whoop. I think it would have been fine to keep that, but I like my data clean. Put this in. I considered cutting this part of the video, but I think it's actually useful to see like how long it actually takes to use a tool instead of just cutting to functionality. So I think this is everything. If we render this, we have pitfalls, motivations, argument blocks filled out, and then up here we have interest currently set to 2, all of the outcomes from that, and then our patience is set to 3. And that's basically it for how to actually set this thing up. I'll close this now so we're all good to go. How to actually use this. So most of this is all interactive. If you need to hard set something to 4 or 5, whatever, you can go ahead and do that. We'll leave that at 3. And then same for interest levels. You can set these manually. But using this argument block right here, we can actually kind of build these up. And the goal here was that since negotiations are supposed to be like RP moments, and that's a lot on the director, I wanted to have some tooling available to make their lives easy. So whether it be like having tooltips here where it explains like what these are actually doing for quick reference, that's all there. But also I wanted to be able to interact with these things so you could focus on the conversation being happening, the argument being happening, the argument that is happening, instead of like writing things down on a piece of paper. They should just be like one-click things. So first, we'll just go over motivation pitfalls. There's nothing dynamic about motivations or pitfalls. It's always the same power rule, so this is all just like static content, but it's a reminder here in case you need it. But let's say the players are starting to make an argument, the heroes are making an argument, and they mention the higher authority motivation. This power rule here is going to keep changing. Sorry for the pause, my headset just turned off. So when the players are going to be making their arguments, let's say they use higher authority, this power rule will keep changing based on all of the checkbox here. So they use higher authority, we have this new power rule here, and then let's say they also mention a pitfall, and we'll do it without pitfall. And then it comes to the point where they're done making their argument, and you say, okay, please make your power roll for the argument, and they roll like a 15. So you can click on the 12 to 15 option, and then down here, this complete argument button will become available to click. When you click this, it'll update everything in the UI to reflect that argument state. So higher authority checked, crossed off. Up here, it's been indicated that it's been used in a previous argument. The interest level bumped up and the patience level bumped down. So then you can just keep going as things, as the players make their arguments. You can just check these as needed, and the state of these will all be reflected as needed, and you can just keep going. When it gets to the point where they've reached patience 0, they will that would be the end of the negotiation. You can just read off the option that is there, and then the negotiation is done. The last thing I'll mention is up here. There's a button to reset the negotiation if you need to do that. But otherwise, that's it for negotiation. I hope you guys like it, and I hope it works out for you. And that's it. Later.